This is a non-turbo engine. There is a turbo version of this engine. The gasket will probably be slightly different. This will also apply to really any 2-liter Ford engine all the way back to the 90s, just, you know, with different electric components. The valve cover gasket is located right in between here, and the reason of changing a valve cover is if you're leaking oil, and you can see the oil build up there. And I have a spark plug replacement video for this engine, and you can see what it looks like inside when I change the spark plugs, how much oil buildup was there. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I already took off some of the wires for the ignition coils. There's 4 of them because it's a 4-cylinder engine. 8mm bolts. I'm using power tools because, you know, doing this all day every day, you just have to have something quicker than just by hand. So I'm going to play around with this wire harness and see if I can manipulate it to get off of this valve cover without taking all this off, because this will probably break if I take it off. So it's mainly all 8mm, maybe some 10mm, but that's going to be about it. Probably take this metal bracket off. And you can see down there's 1 bolt that holds it on. Right there, probably 10mm. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking everything off, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Just pause the video and look at it to try to memorize everything, and when you do it, make sure you take pictures. That always helps. Okay guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've done so far. It is a 13mm bolt, and you can get down in there pretty easy. There's the hole. Once you do that, you have all this space. So I've already disconnected. This broke. A lot of these are very brittle with being close to so much heat. You know, it's going to happen. If you want to replace them, you can get a kit of them. But this one can still kind of click in a little bit. Just went ahead and disconnected all of the connection points. See these? They click on, they pull straight off, as well as the ones in the back. And this tube back here went to here. To take that off, you will simply look for this tab. Yours might be different depending on the year and style, but you'll just pull this tab back, and then we'll loosen it. It pops right off. Be gentle, because this plastic breaks very easily. So once I got that off, I was thinking about removing this one, but then I'm still thinking about it. I'm going to see, because this is your fuel, and I'm going to have to worry about fuel pressure and everything. So I might try to leave it. I think I'll be able to just, once all these sensors are off, the sensor is off, I'll be able to just lift it up and move it out that way. So we'll see how that goes. So that should be it so far. So I'm going to go ahead and take the ignition coils out and play around with this for a bit. I'm going to start taking these out too. These are 8mm, and you'll need a deep socket. And just gently loosen each of them and do like a cross pattern, like if you're taking a wheel off. You don't take all of them off on one side first, like on a wheel, because it'll deform the wheel sometimes when you put it back on. So kind of loosen this one, then go over there, loosen that one, loosen this one, just back and forth like in a cross like this, back and forth. Just always do the opposite side. So once I get all those off, we'll see if I can conveniently take it off without moving these. And you know, there's some play in them, so I think it'll be very easy to do so. Okay guys, so I got all the bolts loosened up, and how they are is they won't come completely out. That's typical for almost all your valve covers. So once you have them all loose, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then you have 2 in the middle. Once you got all those loose, you can use a pry tool in this corner. Just gently kind of get up in here. You can you want to go where the bolts are intact, so you want to just kind of angle it in there. Just pull up. I already got it loose, but it'll be, until you get a good grip on it and pry loose, it's going to be difficult to do so. And I came over here, and this is what completely just took it off, was pulling up on this one. So now I'm going to try to take the whole valve cover off, show you what's underneath. So we'll be lifting up and then kind of sliding out this way. Let's see if I can see how much room there is when you pull that up. Maybe I'll get a bungee cord and kind of hold all this stuff up. Also, make sure to take this sensor off. So we'll just pull on this boot until the boot comes loose, and then underneath you press that tab and it comes right out. And you're good to go. And once again, I apologize, can't video while I'm doing it. There's nowhere to put the camera, but I'll show you the aftermath. Okay guys, so the valve cover is taken off, as well as a lot of the dirt. Now the seal itself, the gasket, doesn't look like there's really a leak on it. It just looks even, but you can tell that oil is just seeping right in. See how it's just falling right into the tube. There's a lot of buildup. So from what I know, the factory gaskets, apparently they're not tall enough or durable enough. They'll just start letting it seep in. You can see how that part's kind of flat. It's hard to see on camera, but if you look at it in person, you can see the level is different on some of them. But I'll go ahead and show you how to take them all off. If I were you, I would go ahead and just get like a kit that's made for taking off the gasket kit. So with this one, you just kind of pry it in there and pull it out. Or like on this one, it's stuck to the metal in there, which means it got hot. It kind of melted it. And that's why this failed, is it got hot. Just taking the old ones out. It's hard to do with one hand, but let's see if we can make some progress. And you can see how this right here is very flat compared to here. So there is a lot of gaps. Alright, now we're going to go get the new kit, and you know, I'm just going to kind of angle this up and spray some brake cleaner on it. There's a lot of dirt down in here, and you know, this is plastic, it's not going to hurt that. And let it dry out for a bit, then I'll put the seal on so it doesn't affect the seal. So we'll need to put one here, one here, one there, and then I believe maybe this there's a gasket here. And if yours is the variable valve timing, then you'll have 2 slots, and those 2 slots will be, I think, right here, and you'll just change out 2 more gaskets. so here's some of the brake cleaner. Using a Felpro. That's the model number. So are you still in class?
Yes.
Okay. There's some Permatex in here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. Have to find it later. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take all this out, clean that with brake cleaner along the lines a little bit. You know, I'm not going to soak it, just to clean it. You can see there's a lot of dirt. Alright, so we're going to start putting these on. Now, like I said earlier, just use a little bit of brake cleaner and you can see where all that dirt's coming up and where the plastic's already kind of worn. It's also a chemical reaction from the brake cleaner, but it's good to get that dirt out. But like I said, I used a very little bit, then I wipe it down with a cloth. I'm going to wipe it down more through here. And then for the seal, you can put like some oil on it. You need to put oil. Some people use grease or even WD-40. I'd recommend just kind of dabbing some oil on it, inside and outside, because you have to have a wet grip with rubber. So it kind of suctions on there, especially when we torque it down. So I'm going to go through here, clean this out, and then I'm going to dab some oil on the gasket on the inside and the outside part. After that, what you'll want to do is get a good cleaner tool, and you'll just want to kind of scrape away and see how this is nice and clean, very gently, and kind of push it off towards the outside. See that, the junk, you want to get all that off all the way around. Right there you can see this oil buildup, and that's how you can see if your gasket kind of went out, is look for that white line to be obstructed. Sometimes it will still leak where there's a white line. It's just harder to see if the oil is cleaner. But after this, you'll want to get a nice clean oil change. As you can see, there's a lot of oil build up on it. So I'm going to continue cleaning all this off and then put the gasket on and get back with you. Okay guys, the part just came in. We'll see if this works. It says it works for multiple engine sizes. Alright guys, here we go. So it matches up. Whoops. There you go. And it will just perfectly fit down. And these little teeth keep it in, so when you're navigating it over to the engine block, it will stay on. You got this one. Nice and tight. Then we got the middle one. Let's see where the make sure it's all even, not one part's tight and next part's slack. There you go. Nice and tight. Okay. Now let's see if I can do this one. Yeah, some parts of it are too tight and then some are slack. So that's not good. I'm gonna have to redo that off camera. It's just hard to do with one hand. Okay, so I dabbed some oil on it. Now I'm going to kind of gently wet it a little bit and rub that in. It's a lot better for it if it's now if you're about to torque it down and you just need to know the torque settings, it's around 78 inch-pounds, and we're going to start out. See the 0 at the line with the 65? That means it's 65. If you turn this until it says 10 and it's above the 65, that's going to mean it's at 75. So I'm going to set it to 65, and then on this side you have metric centimeters per kilograms. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it to where it's exactly at 65. It's a 1/4 inch, and you can't use any extensions. If you do, it lowers it. So you kind of have to look on a chart on the internet. So if you have it extended out this much, it's not going to be doing the exact amount from what some people say. Now, you know the truth, if it's that much of a difference with it just being steady torque instead of like an impact gun torque, I guess you can start it up in the comment section. Okay, so I have the 8mm. I'm going to put it on. You can hear it click. It's that click mechanism. I also want to tighten this up so it doesn't move. We got that one. Then we'll try to work our way in over here. Hear it click. Alright, that one's done. Then we'll go back over here. And we're only going to 65, so it's not the full torque. Here it click. And then we'll go back over here to this one. Alright. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like put back together. Bolt goes right there and then kind of holds on to that. Remember, around 75 to 80 inch-pounds is what you want on each of these. You know, when it comes to valve cover, you can just tighten them if it's seeping out a bit, but make sure just do opposite sides and then the middle. You know, you can look up videos that explain that specifically. Always make sure you take your battery off before you start the job. So I cleaned that sensor before I put it back in, and we're gonna let it sit for a bit with the RTX. That fluid